I, 35M, want to move to take a life-changing job out west. Wife, 37F, doesn't. I'm 35, wife is 37. We have a 5-year-old. Great marriage. I've been working in the tech industry for more than a decade in the Midwest. In my city, there are really only 2 massive companies. I currently work at one, and previously worked at the other. I'm basically as high as I can go at my current job. I recently got promoted, and promotions are not going to happen anytime soon due to how our department is structured. I'm also in a role where I'm not making the most out of my best skill set. I was contacted by a recruiter for a Seattle-based tech giant 3 weeks ago via LinkedIn. I interviewed with them and have made it to the 3rd round of interviews, and I have a feeling that an offer is coming soon based on the feedback. Recently, my wife got cold feet about the idea of moving to Seattle. We are both currently stagnated in our careers. When we were dating, she moved with me to our current city and left her job but made her a remote worker for that company. She has made comments of moving back to where we previously lived, her hometown, and getting her old job back and getting promoted there. But I do not want to go back there. Farming community. I'm really not sure what to do. I feel like I owe her for sacrificing her career for me once, but I will not have a good job if we move back to her hometown. If we move to Seattle, my career makes a massive leap salary-wise and there is more personal satisfaction and opportunity. Advice? Too long didn't read. Do we move to Seattle, stay where we are and stagnate career-wise? Or move back to her hometown so she can get promoted, but I will most likely not have a job or be forced to take jobs I don't like. Update: I told HR that I cannot take the job. Long discussion this afternoon. Wife stated that she doesn't want to move because she doesn't want to be away from her family, her friends, or start a new position in Seattle herself. The idea of working anywhere but her current job is terrifying to her, and she flat out told me she's not quitting her job and plans to retire there. So, we are staying where we are or moving back to her hometown. She also has zero interest in ever leaving our state. Seattle techie here. Lots of the tech companies are moving towards long-term remote working, at least part-time, due to the pandemic and shifting expectations of employees. This does not include Amazon. If that is who you are talking to, maybe worth seeing if you can continue to live in your current location and primarily work remotely, maybe fly into Seattle once or twice a month. Have your cake and eat it too. She already sacrificed everything for you once. That means you need to take her concerns seriously here. If her hometown is a place where there would be zero career opportunities for you, or a serious downgrade in opportunities, then I think it's fair to say that moving there isn't really an option. But her hometown and Seattle aren't the only 2 cities in the world. If you are both stagnating in your careers in current town, is there an area you would both thrive? What aspects of your current home do you both like and dislike? And what would you both like to see in a new town? Perhaps she would be interested in moving closer to her family, even if it's not to her hometown. Or perhaps she would be interested in moving to a city that has some feature she misses about her hometown. You should discuss this in detail and at length together. But you can't just put your career first and ignore her needs your whole lives together. Seattle is crazy expensive for housing and there are quality of life issues due to traffic and housing. You have a kid entering school age, so you need to consider schools as well. Make sure you figure out what the salary numbers actually mean after expenses before you take the job. Your wife's concerns are real. There are times you have to make decisions which are best for the family as opposed to the best for your career. Having said that, being technical in a 2-company town means you are at serious risk of having to move anyway if there are layoffs or a shutdown. I honestly do not know. It is a little unfair that she has to do another move from where she wants for you. I know you've got a great opportunity, but why are you, seemingly, the only one allowed to grow and maneuver, while she has to keep pressing redo? She isn't being given a fair opportunity to be where she wants. She sacrificed once, she moved for you, you don't want to move back. Now she has to move for you again? I mean, come on. On the other hand, there's a lot of room for resentment on both sides. For her, she can definitely start to dislike the fact that she had to move once more. especially if things don't work out for her career or goals, or if she just dislikes the area. On the flip, are you going to resent her if you stay? You can make your call, but to me a relationship, especially a marriage, is about equality and sacrifice. She shouldn't be the only one sacrificing, and it seems like she keeps getting the short end of the stick on her desires. It also seems like you aren't willing to do the same. This may be one of those situations where it unfortunately is do or die. Do you stay together on either coast? Do you try to live separately and go back and forth, or do you divorce and live that way? You also have a child now, which you seem to forgot to consider. If you're on one coast and she's on the other, your child begins to suffer the loss of whichever parent they aren't with full time. Is money worth all this distancing? TAOMK, thanks for the award, sad face. I, 20F, found a photo of a woman in my dad's 52M wallet. I was at visiting my parents this week, and my dad was working on his car and asked me to take his wallet and pay for a delivery. I did that, but I also noticed two small pictures. One was of mom and dad, cute, and another was a woman I have never seen before. Both the pictures were really old. She is not related to us as she is from a different ethnic group. I know it is none of my business, and it is probably nothing, but it raises so many questions in my mind. My parents are happily married. I don't believe he cheated or is cheating on her, but my mind is going on overdrive thinking about this. This woman clearly means something to him. On one hand, I think I may be better off not bringing it up, but at the same time I feel awkward talking about to him. My mind keeps jumping to awful conclusion, and I don't want this to affect us. I am really struggling with this decision. Too long didn't read. Found a pic of a woman in dad's wallet. Can't get it out of my mind. It is making things awkward for me. Given how casually he asked you to get money from his wallet, there is probably a perfectly innocent explanation. I would ask him, personally. It seems to me it would be pretty risky to keep a photo that you don't want your wife to see in your wallet. At some point you're gonna ask your wife to grab some money out of your wallet. So my guess would be your mom knows who the woman is. Whether or not you want to know is a slightly different story. It's probably innocent, but there's a possibility it changes how you see your dad in some way. Do you want that knowledge? Probably a childhood friend that died or something along those lines. It was a fiancé. Never would have guessed that. One thing you learn as you get older is that your parents are people too. They are complex, and have parts of their lives that they do not want to share with us. This includes previous loves and people of importance that they never feel like sharing or speaking about out loud. I'm sure your mother knows the picture is there, and even knows the story behind it. Surely, she has handled his wallet many times. Feel free to ask him, and perhaps he will share. I have a feeling there is a special story there. You were right. My mom knows. I never thought dad had gone through something this tragic. If it were me, I would just ask him. There is probably an innocent explanation. If you're worried about him denying it, you could take a photo of the picture in his wallet as proof. It's likely just a friend you're not familiar with. You were right. I got worked up over nothing, but I am glad that I asked him. My 23F boyfriend's 28M friends added me to their WhatsApp group. I've gone out with them a couple of times. Maybe like 4 or 5 hangouts, maximum. We spent New Year's Eve together and all that. It's a group of about 8 people, including my boyfriend. But last Friday, 4 of them came to dinner at my boyfriend's apartment and I was there. I cooked dinner for all of us and it was a good time overall. One of them added me to the friend group at one point because my boyfriend sucks at being active in the group, and sometimes he misses arranged dinners or parties because he doesn't even scroll through all the messages. They message each other a lot. At the end of the day, if you don't go to WhatsApp at all that day, you find like 100 messages. Anyway, during the dinner they greeted me over WhatsApp, made some jokes. I sent a message thanking them and greeting them back and all that. But since then it's just a little awkward. They literally text each other good morning, they text good night, they talk throughout the day, all that. My boyfriend is pretty much the only one who doesn't interact at all. So because of the fact that my boyfriend is not an active participant in there, I feel awkward interacting with them because at the end of the day I'm just his girlfriend and I don't really know anyone in the group and they wouldn't want to hear good morning from me. Should I be active in the group? Feel like I'm being rude in a way by not saying anything, like an outsider looking in if I don't say at least something, but then my boyfriend could find it weird that I'm going behind his back talking to his friends. I don't know, maybe I'm overthinking this. Too long didn't read. During a dinner at my boyfriend's house, one of them added me to the friend group. My boyfriend doesn't interact much in the group, but they all send each other good morning and good night texts. They talk throughout the day and all that. It sounds like they like you and want you and your BF involved in stuff a bit more. If they didn't want to hear from you at all, then why invite you to the group? Also definitely not going behind your fella's back if he is in the group. You could use it to get to know his friends better as well. That said, I can see how you would find it weird. Do what you are comfortable with. You might find it easier to talk with them after a few weeks when you understand them better. I think they want you to be active in the group because your BF has poor follow through. I would be careful though not to end up being his unofficial secretary. This would be my concern. I've been added to groups by friends and family of my BF who think that being female means I am magically organized and will make sure he doesn't miss any of their outings and activities. It's not because they want to be best friends with me, but because they see me as his admin assistant. This became obvious when instead of asking him why he missed an event, they started asking me first, and got annoyed when I said to ask him because I wasn't his secretary. The way it was pitched as something she should join because the BF is so rubbish at reading the messages makes me worry they see her as a shortcut to getting their messages to him, rather than a member of the group in her own right. Be active when you feel like you want to be active, and inactive when you don't. If you're added, I doubt they would have any problem if you're more active than your boyfriend. Sounds like that may even be part of why they added you. They are being inclusive of you, emo. I think that you should not assume yourself to be second-class citizen. Feel free to message with them or not. They added you to group, so you really should not worry about them not wanting to hear from you. Generally with friends groups, it tends to be better if partners are able to become friends too anyway. There are less issues that way. That being said, you should not force yourself to send message you don't feel like sending either. Basically, treat them as new group of friends and find amount of communicating that is comfortable for you. Sounds like they're being friendly to you and you're overthinking it.